Hello, and welcome to the 40th episode of the Queen Bee Book Club podcast. I'm Audrey.
And I'm Cher.
And I don't know if you can tell, but I feel like sick Audrey voice is back.
Yeah, you do sound a little bit sick.
You know, it's that seasonal change that really gets me.
Gets you every year.
But I am... Well, and it's like I'm currently debating whether or not it's worth it to just like... Because I don't feel that bad. But I'm wondering, I'm like, is it worth it just to go to the doctor and, like, nip it in the bud? But I don't know if it's, like, an infection. So it's like...
I bet it's just a cold.
Yeah.
My gut is telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have some sinus pressure going on.
Oh, well, you had a sinus infection not long ago, right?
Yeah, I usually get it, like, when it transitions into spring, and then when we transition into fall. Like, I usually get sick during those times.
Yeah, well, maybe you should.
Yeah. Well, and also, I'm going away this weekend for a wedding, and so it's like, I don't really want to be ill during that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I would just say is just, like, chug emergency.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, I think that there's something in my bedroom or something that's, like, making me react more, because I feel like I wasn't really coughing at school.
I also feel like it's like time of day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just can't wait for the day that Emergency finally sponsors this podcast, because I spread the gospel of Emergency everywhere I go. The kid next to me is sick right now. Like, we sit next to each other in every class. He's delightful. Mm-hmm. And I brought him emergency packets because I'm like, listen, this is really going to help you. And he is like, drank the Kool-Aid, as they say, or drank the emergency, mm-hmm. which is now the new coined phrase.
Yeah, I need to have some after we finish recording, because
yeah.
I had some when I was like, I feel it coming on, I'm going to drink that emergency, and then I had another cup, but I needed to be more diligent.
Drink it the whole way through, because I think it really shortens it. Even if you get it, I think it still mm-hmm. shortens it if you take it. I also, like, I think there's nothing wrong with double dosing it right now. Seriously, like, do two packets, yeah.
That's good advice.
Well,
I feel like we should track on this podcast, like, the percentage of episodes where Audrey has a cough.
I mean, yeah. It happens. It doesn't happen to me because I drink emergency so much, but now I've cursed myself. Knock on wood on that. Yeah, everyone in my class is sick right now. And it makes me nervous. Oh, but guess what, though? I actually do have to go to the doctor because I'm not compliant with my immunizations. I got an email.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently, like, I do have all of my vaccines, but my mm-hmm. tetanus shot has expired, so I have to get another tetanus shot.
I had to get one of those the last time I went to the doctor, and they were like, the nurse was like, okay, like, this is gonna hurt. I was like, oh, okay.
I hope they don't do it to me.
And then I had to get my blood drawn later. And then, like, as I had to get my blood drawn later, and they were like, you had to get a tetanus shot? Like, that's gonna really hurt in a couple of days. And you know what? It didn't. So, like, I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was a shot, but, like, it didn't hurt, like, later.
I just
didn't know that was great bedside manner.
That's horrible bedside manner. It's like, just because I'm 26 years old, it doesn't mean that I am not afraid of needles.
I'm not nervous.
Yeah, I don't want to go. Yeah, so I think I'm going to probably go on Friday because I think I can get Brendan to maybe drive me there. I'm going to say, like, what if I can't drive on the way home? That's absolutely not going to happen, but... I have news. I was elected as the 1L, or one of the 1L criminal law reps.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, pretty funny, though. So... Like, I've been so anxious about this because I just wanted it so bad. I'm like, listen, this is the leadership role that I want. I don't care about anything else. Like, I just am waiting for this. And like, I went to a couple, like, I went to the women's forum and watched the election, which was, like, pretty intense, and, like, you had to make a speech and, like, student council, as you do. So I, like, had a speech drafted with, like, jokes. Like, I showed up to the meeting literally half an hour early. I was the first person there. Nice. And then, like, as people came in, I, like, introduced myself and, like, made friends with them. And, like, was just campaigning hard. Like, every person I've ever met my entire time at law school, I'm like, oh, like, how's your renters issue going? And, like, whatever. Like, just, like, basically I'm just being a Leslie Knope all over the place. And then, like, it turned out that, like, not enough people from my section even ran to, like, have a contested race, so I didn't even make my speech. So I basically won by writing my name on the board.
Nice.
So that's not what it's going to say on my resume, but I basically was a default electee.
I mean,
but guess what? I'm going to do a great job. I'm going to do a really good job.
You are going to do a good job.
Yeah.
That's a great job for you.
I know. I don't really know, like, at all what it's going to, like, legitimately involve, but
I was going to say, I don't really know what you're going to do, but you're going to be good at it.
I think that we just basically plan 2 events in the year.
Okay. Well,
Remember when I was the event planner for EXA? That was the worst year of my life.
I sure do remember that.
For those who don't know, EXA is the...
banging going on. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. EXA is the English Graduate Student Association. Mm-hmm. And it was a big waste of time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that 100% now.
I did it and, like, pretty much always cut it from my resume anytime I apply for anything because there are more important things that I've done, so... Do you want to talk about the book?
Sure. Okay, so, like, we're talking about, I don't know what just happened in my brain. So we're talking about To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Correct.
Pretty much I needed us to do this book because I watched the Netflix movie a few weeks ago now and am just so thrilled with it that I was like, I need us to talk about this on the podcast. I almost ordered all 3 books at once and I was like, I need to chill out and not do that. Because I had not gotten paid yet for my job. And so I was like, I need to wait until I get a first paycheck before I start, like, ordering multiple books off Amazon.
Until I start ordering, like, the series collections.
Yeah, I was like, I need to keep track of what's going on with Peter Kavinsky. I need to know everything.
I love it so
that's my
far.
Background.
Okay, I have no background in it. Per usual, I have not watched the Netflix movie, still haven't. But love the book so far. It brings together some of my favorite things, which are secrets, crushes in high school, and sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and, like, really nice sisterhood, I think.
It's not really
about,
nice.
Like, it's about sisters that, like, are really, like, banded together, and I think that that's really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody who comes from a family of 3 sisters, I relate. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm the Margot, because I, like, just leave.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest.
Yeah. I mean, it really,
so she's
like,
not around
your
much.
dynamic kind of is, like, yeah. But, like, definitely, like, the, you know, the sister that's, like, you know, like, out on the front lines and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely, in high school, was not as together as her, as Margot. Like, I think that she... Like, I certainly was never, like, a second mom to my family. like I'm not that domestic. I was not the one. I, like, still can hardly do grocery shopping for myself. But
I mean, you also had Mama P, so it wasn't like you really needed to be like that.
That's
Whereas,
true.
their mother has passed away. Oh, should we read the, like...
Oh, yeah, read the back flap.
Okay.
Then I'll get back to talking about myself.
Okay. So it says, Laura Jean keeps her love letters in a hat box her mother gave her. They aren't love letters that anyone else wrote for her. These are the ones she's written. One for every boy she's ever loved, 5 in all. When she writes, she can pour out her heart and soul and say all the things she would never say in real life, because her letters are for her eyes only. Until the day her secret letters are mailed, and suddenly Lara Jean's love life goes from imaginary to out of control.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah, well, I almost, like, as I started this book, I almost texted you, like, please watch the movie first.
Really?
But then I was like, yeah, I'll wait. So I'm interested in your, like, first thoughts and impressions and feelings about Peter Kavinsky.
Okay, I don't love him so far. However, so I wouldn't say I don't love... Okay, I guess what I would say at this point, like, I like their dynamic. Like, I think it's, like, kind of fun. But I don't, like... At this point, I don't 100% see the allure of Peter Kavinsky. Kavinsky.
Okay.
So that's my
because,
my initial impression.
And that is why, and I had a feeling that would be it, because I could see if your first introduction to Peter Kavinsky was this book, why you would be, like, suspicious. Because I think, like, what's going on, like, we have, like, a bit of a Pride and Prejudice situation going on.
Oh.
Where because the story is told from Lara Jean's point of view, we don't get a lot of Peter other than what she is perceiving. Yes. And so, whereas in the movie, like, you can watch an actor act and make your own assumptions. And so because I was like, oh, like, that moment, like, doesn't play out the same way as in the movie. Or, like, I don't like Peter as much in this section. Like, he seems like more of, like, kind of a jerky player. Whereas, but there are still those elements where I'm like, oh, Peter Kavinsky, you little angel. Whereas in the film version, Peter Kavinsky is through and through a perfect specimen. Sweet. Like, just adorable. Like, there were so many moments watching this movie where, like, my mouth was just, like, hanging open because I could not believe, like, what a doll Peter Kavinsky is.
So, yeah. I guess, like, in terms of predictions corner, like, I think that, like, it's clear to me that, like, moving forward, it's going to be, like, Peter Kavinsky is the central love interest, not this Josh.
Right.
Because, frankly, like, Lara Jean. Mm-hmm. She's too good of a sister to fuck with Josh, mm-hmm. I think. Like,
yeah, and I like, though, that idea of, I think, like, her having a crush on Josh is a really nice, like, conflict for this story.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, I think it's, like, such a teenage thing to do, to be, like, even though Josh was her friend before he started dating Margot, like, to have that crush and then be like, I love my sister so much, like, I don't know what to do with these feelings. I'm just gonna write them down. So, they're there. And then, but then also to, like, have a crush on someone who treats your sister really well, I think is a really reasonable, like, I think we tend to have crushes on people that, like, treat people we like well. I think it's, like, normal to develop a crush on those people.
I also think it's not that uncommon, too, when, like, like, I feel like, you know, girls always have crushes on, like, their brother's friends or, like, people mm-hmm. that they see in a context that's, like, outside of just, like, I don't know, school and, like, sports and, like, whatever else boys do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also really like Kitty.
Kitty's the best. That's what I was going to say. So, like, I would say Kitty, like, does remind me of Mary-Kate, though.
Yeah.
A little bit. Where it's, like, especially when Mary-Kate was young, like, she, like, she's, like, she definitely had, like, her own little power and, like, her own grudge holding. And Mary-Kate, of the three of us, is, like, the most, like, mysterious and removed a little bit. Like, she, like, I didn't find out that she had a boyfriend literally until I asked her point blank. I'm like, hi, is that boy on your Instagram your boyfriend? And she's like, yes. I'm like, how long have you been dating? She's like, I don't know, months. I'm like, Mary-Kate, like, hello? Like, whereas,
months.
like, whereas, like, with Savannah, like, I would I would never not know something like that. Savannah would be cagey about it for ages, but, like, I would at least know, like, who the main players are. Yeah. Like, she might not necessarily say, like, yeah, they're my boyfriend, but, like, that has more to do with Savannah, like, being unwilling to commit herself than, like, being unwilling to tell other people about it.
Right. Well, and then, like, what do we make, like, especially, like, as a big sister, like, then what do you make of, like, Lara Jean, like, can't tell Margot about, like, this whole situation that she's in now?
It just makes me sad, because I think the reality is, like, Margot would be, like, so how many years apart are Lara Jean and Margot? Like, 2?
2, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, like, that's the same difference as me and Savannah. And, like, so first of all, I will say, I never had a boyfriend like Josh, really, where, like, he was somebody who was, like, around, like, in high school.
And, like welcome in your house.
And liked. So, like, I can't even imagine the scenario of, like, having Savannah being like, yeah, like, I have a crush on your boyfriend. Because, like, we just, like, I never had somebody like that, really. But, like, at the same time, like, I don't, like, when you have sisters, like, like, they're your number one. Like, honestly, like, in terms of my identity, like, I consider myself, like, a sister before I consider myself a wife. Or, like, a sister before I consider myself a daughter, or, like, anything else. Like, so, like, I don't know, I just would always side with my sister, like, no matter what. Even if she's wrong, or, like, even if it's, like, kind of bitchy. Like, the fact that she's, like, dealing with this all by herself is really sad. And she doesn't have a mom. Like, she doesn't, like, really have any kind of, like, older female wise character to, like, tell her what's up. Like, go across the street to that lady who keeps spilling coffee on herself. Like, let her know.
Yeah.
And, like, I even just, like, sort of wish she would talk to Kitty about it, because, like, Kitty seems like she's got a great head on her shoulders.
Kitty would be like, I love this situation, first of all. Well, I think part of it is that, like...
Did Kitty send out the letters? Like, she's got to have, right? Because it's not the dad.
It's clear in the movie that Kitty did it.
Okay. I mean, that's, like, I was like, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot clearer in the movie, and I think also the movie is a lot more clear, like, also when, like, it's a little neater how the, like, all the boys that get the letters, like, kind of confront her, and it's, like, very sweet. Which, like, so that's one thing I want to say about Peter Kavinsky, and I don't remember I think I probably touched on this when we introduced the book, during the Valley of the Dolls episode, but, like, particularly movie Peter Kavinsky, I think he's just, like, I think it's really important for teenage girls to have an example of what a nice boy looks like.
Yeah,
because I think, like, no, it's like, I had, like, in high school, it was like, the media boys that I was interested in were, like, Edward Cullen, who is an abusive, bad boyfriend.
Yeah.
Dean from Gilmore Girls, who is an abusive, bad boyfriend, who is, like, portrayed to us as, like, a nice boy.
But, like, give me a Jess any day of the week.
I know. And Jess, who, like, I'll stand behind, but, like, is not a good boyfriend. Like, love you still, but with also, all of my heart.
With Jess, though, you understand that he, like, came from such a different circumstance than Rory. And so, like, you give him a break because you're like, you know what? Like, he doesn't have parents.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to go through these emotions. Which, okay, so I just need to sidebar about Gilmore Girls really quickly.
Okay.
So, and specifically Jess. So the Emmys were on Sunday. And
they're on Monday, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. They were on Monday. They should have been on Sunday.
That's what I thought,
They were on Monday.
I did not watch them. Big surprise.
Okay. The only two things... So you missed, like, I feel like 2 notable moments. Okay. So Amy Sherman Palladino, the creator and writer of Gilmore Girls, she won Best Writing and Best Directing for her new show, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, great.
Which I was, like, so thrilled about because...
Did you watch that show?
Yes, and it's great.
Okay.
And, I mean, like, I just love her writing so much, so I was so happy to see her get recognition. But then, Milo Ventimiglia was there because he was nominated for This Is Us. And when Amy won the writing award, the camera cut to Milo in his seat, and you saw, like, I could see him mouth to his neighbor, "She's the fucking best."
Oh.
Which I was like, oh my god! Because, like, she gave him one of his first, like, big acting jobs as Jess. So I just loved that moment. You also missed, listen, I will never stand behind a public proposal in my entire life, but at the Emmys, this guy won for Best Direction of a Variety Special. He gets up there, and he was like, my mom died 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, Glenn, so sad. And then he was like, to my girlfriend, I love you so much, like, you ask me why, like, I don't, like calling you my girlfriend, and it's because I want to call you my wife. And but God. It was, like, really, normally I would be like, this is the worst, but it was so
Was she there?
Yes.
Okay.
And everyone in the audience was like, what? And then she, like, got up on stage, and he proposed to her.
I mean,
and so
that's
it was
nice.
like, I mean, I've never, ever been okay with public proposals. But, like, first, I think it was because the show itself was, like, pretty boring. And then all of a sudden, like, this random dude named Glenn is winning an Emmy. And he's like, I'm going to propose, and, like, really build my moment. And I was like, this is great. I'm happy to have some love in the world.
Well, while we're, like, doing a sidebar, I started The Sinner.
Ooh.
Which,
I heard that's great.
Okay, it is so good. It was a pretty huge mistake of me starting it. So I'm 4 episodes in, and, like, all I want to do now is watch it. Like, I'm like, screw law school, I'll fail. I just only want to know what happens in The Sinner. All of the seasons. Because there are 2 seasons now. But, like, there, like, are obviously weird Catholic stuff, which I love being a Catholic. I don't know. It's just very well done. It's dark. It's really dark.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I was skeptical of it because I'm skeptical of Jessica Biel, but then I heard it's great.
No, she's good. I mean, I think the thing about Jessica Biel is, like, she's just so pretty. And, like, I've never really liked her that much because, like, even when she was in Seventh Heaven, like, I was just so much of a... Who was the middle sister? What was her name?
Lucy.
I was, like, much more of a Lucy girl, and I thought, like...
Me too.
What's her name was, like, a little bit aloof and, like, kind of mean.
Mary.
Yeah, Mary.
Yeah. Well, she was just trouble. And I was young, and I was like, she's trouble.
Yeah. Whereas Lucy, like, she was just more relatable to me. But, I don't, like, she just, like, looks so good for, like, how old is she? Like, who knows? Ageless.
Yeah.
I didn't want to watch it because I hate shows where, like, you know who the murderer is in the beginning. Like, cause the premise of it basically is, like, she kills somebody on the beach and, like, nobody knows why. And, like, so I sort of, like, I don't necessarily love that, like, reconstruction of the past to, like, get to that moment sort of a thing.
Oh, see, I like that.
I don't like that. Because it's really hard for there to be, like, a major twist in that situation because you know where the end is going to be. But for this, like, it really went in a direction I was not expecting. And I highly recommend it. So.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely need to add that to my list of shows to check out.
It's only 8 episodes. Apparently the second season is also really good. Jessica Biel's not in it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It's, like, exploring themes that are, like, that were kind of touched upon in the first season, but, like, she's not in it.
I think it's about a little boy killing his family.
Oh.
So, like, it's, kind of like a sad topic, but interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. The show, like, is just... Like, I couldn't even begin to tell you where it's going. I have some guesses, which I'm gonna tell to Brendan, so if I'm right, there's, like, a record that I knew it. Because it's hard when I'm watching shows alone, because I don't get the credits. Like, I knew it! Like, I did get the credit with
every
Broadchurch
time I watch
when I called it out.
Yeah. Every time I watch a mystery, I feel like now I'm always, like, sitting there like, man, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I bet Cher would know by now.
Well, I mean, it depends though. Like, if it's a Law and Order or a CSI, like, I can tell you every single episode pretty much. Like, I've pretty much figured out the formula. But now with these like newer shows where they like are a little more experimental, it's harder to tell.
Yeah.
Like Game of
Sometimes
Thrones,
those
like
experiments don't pay off.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do. I don't know. The Sinner, I would say, is well worth watching, and I'd be interested to hear what you think of it. It's
we've been rewatching Game of Thrones, and I've gotten in the habit of now, like, every time Littlefinger's on the screen, I just shout no at him. I'm like, no, get away from Sansa. Like, I don't like how you're about this. Like, no.
Yuck. God, I can't wait till that show comes back.
I know. It's so long from now.
I know.
And in the meantime, we have Peter Kavinsky.
Yeah, so I will say, like, I definitely had a Peter Kavinsky. So, like, let's... So, I feel like I've definitely talked about it on the podcast. I'm not going to say his name because it's embarrassing, but... Actually, it's not that embarrassing. But it's so long ago. But I also don't want to, like, you know... When we're famous, I don't want people banging down his door. But,
right.
Yeah, so he was a year older than me.
Ooh.
He was on the varsity football team, even though he was only a sophomore. This is one of few.
So he's really talented.
So he's just really, really talented at football. And he was just so nice. He was so nice.
Yeah.
And he was in my acting class, and, like, we spent a lot of time together because we were, like, in a group together, like a scene or something, I don't know. And then I thought he was so out of my league, but, like, I also would talk about him every day at home, like, to my mom, be like, oh my god, this is what he did today. My mom's like, okay, you are 100% in love with him. Like, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, yeah, you are. And then, like, near the end of that year, I, like, began my, like, tumultuous high school affair with my, like, who had become, like, my long-term high school fling. But the next year, he said to me, we were, like, in the same class, or it was an acting class again, but the next year, he was like, yeah, like, I had such a crush on you freshman year, but, like, you were, like, off with that other guy.
Like, no!
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I would have tossed him aside. It was always you. But, I did not say any of that. I was like, oh, you should have told me, because I was way too cool. But I, like, in my heart, I was like, what?
Yeah. I was like,
how could you? Yeah, but, like...
If only.
I know. You know, like, I do sometimes think, like, if I had, like, sort of let that play out, or at least been, like, more confident to, like, think that I was deserving of his affection, which, like, to be honest, it's, like, looking back now, I'm kind of, like, I was cute, I was smart, like, I was funny, like, what would have precluded me from being in his sights? But, like, at the time, I was so insecure, and just,
being
like...
14.
Everything was so hard. And, like, everything was so, like, social status and, like, you know, like, I didn't have, you know, I wasn't a cheerleader or on the football team, or I didn't have a thing, really. Right. So it's, like, hard to tell where you fall in the social strata.
Yeah. I mean... Well, and I also like that in this book, like, Lara Jean is also kind of, like, it's, like, not like she's your, like, standard 90s loser.
No.
But she's also, like, not, you know, like, the cheerleader. She's, like, in the middle. She's, like, a you. Like, she's a great girl. But she's just like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't think guys would be interested in me like that. And, you know.
She's just a family-oriented gal.
Yeah, and I just think that, like, and the book doesn't really, like, shame her for being that way. And, like, Peter Kavinsky, like, never tries to, like, he, like, tries to bring her out of her shell rather than, like, be like, here's what's wrong with you and how I can fix you.
No. She actually is meaner to him than he is to her. Like, because I think
she's like, you're a loser.
She's constantly on the defensive with him. Like, she just feels like she's less than him in some capacity, and so she just is like, well, you know what? Like, you are rude and very cocky, and I'm not interested one iota in you. He's like,
yeah, he's like, oh,
that's kind of mean.
Noted. Okay.
Yeah. I did find it very sweet that he came and picked her up in the minivan so he could give Kitty a ride.
I know. Oh, he's such a doll. And I think it's like that kind of thing. And like there are a lot of very small moments in the movie, and so far like there are a lot of nice small moments in the book too, where Peter demonstrates that he's a nice person. And I think that is very lost. Like, we're like so obsessed with like grand gestures that I think like just the small detail of like, oh yeah, I could give your sister a ride too.
Or like, I'm gonna bring a different car so in case your sister needs a ride, I'm gonna be accessible for her. I don't know. Right.
Yeah, and just like the idea of like, did we get to the part where they go to the party yet?
No.
Okay. Let me flip to, because I feel like there was a moment like right before we cut off that I was like, oh, Peter Kavinsky. But there's also like, there's a scene in the movie, and this was like improv by the actor, but like where he like gets in like kind of like a little bit of like not like a fight, like it's like a playful, like Kitty says something really sassy to him and he's like, oh, it's on now. And he, like, goes to, like, hit her with a pillow or something really, like, gently. But before he does it, he, like, moves a bowl of popcorn that could have easily been spilled out of the way. So it's like, so we're not going to make a mess, but we're still going to have fun. And it's just so charming. I'm like, oh, Peter Kavinsky. Okay, now I just lost my place.
Well, I'm just going to picture that boy from high school as my Peter Kavinsky, and that probably will make me like him more.
I feel like he is your Peter Kavinsky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this part where he's, like, putting his head in her lap because they're studying together. I was like, Peter Kavinsky.
I do not think I've gotten there yet.
Because he was she was, like, worried about how, she's, like, worried basically that Margot and Josh had sex and she doesn't know it and, like, being too naive.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, oh, like, I would need some more information about that.
I have not gotten there yet.
Okay. Were we not reading until 163?
I read until 160.
Oh, okay.
So
you'll
coming
know what
up
I'm
soon.
talking about literally in 3 pages.
Great.
Oh, so we did get to the part with Lucas's letter, though.
Which one is that?
Lucas is the one who's like,
the gay one.
Gay, right?
Yes. Oh.
I think I just want to read her letter to Lucas because I think it's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
It is the sweetest. Yeah, read it.
Dear Lucas, I never met a boy with manners as good as yours. You ought to have a British accent. At homecoming, you wore a cravat, and it suited you so well, I think you could wear one all the time and get away with it. Oh, Lucas, I wish I knew what kind of girls you liked. As far as I can tell, you haven't dated anyone. Unless you have a girlfriend at another school. You're just so mysterious. I hardly know a thing about you. The things I know are so unsubstantial, so unsatisfying. Like that you eat a chicken sandwich every day at lunch, and you're on the golf team. I guess the one remotely real thing I know about you is you're a good writer, which must mean you have deep reserves of emotion. Like that short story you wrote in creative writing about the poisoned well, and it was from a 6-year-old boy's perspective. It was so sensitive, so keen. That story made me feel like I knew you at least a little bit, but I don't know you. And I wish I did. I think you're very special. I think you're probably one of the most special people at our school, and I wish more people knew that about you. Or maybe I don't, because sometimes it's nice to be the only one who knows something. Love, Laura Jean.
Okay, imagine getting that letter as him.
I know! And I love, too, that Lucas is like, that was a really nice letter you wrote me.
He's like, I'm honored to receive it, but you know that I'm gay, right?
Yeah. She's like, oh. Mm-hmm.
She's like, obviously I know that.
Damn it,
Peter.
Yeah. I mean, just, like, such a sweet, like, what a sweet and innocent thing to do, to, like, have a crush and be like, I'm going to write down how I feel about this person in a letter form. I love that her letter to Peter, though, is so aggressive.
It's so mean. Like, she's like, here are the things I hate about you because I don't love you anymore.
It's so funny because it's like she's so clearly like working through this confused crush feeling that she has. And she's just like, you know what? Like,
she got her kiss stolen, you know?
And I love that he was like, hey, I just like don't want you going around telling people I have STDs. Because I don't. And also, like, I'm sorry if you feel like I stole your first kiss. Like, I didn't mean to. But it's like, I mean, obviously he had to confront her for this book to happen.
Right.
But I think it also is just, like, such a nice thing to, like, get a letter like that and be like, what? And then just go and talk to her about it as opposed to, like, showing all your friends and being like, oh my god, like, isn't she crazy? Like, look what she did.
That's true.
It's just, like, very nice to be like, hey, what is this about? And please don't tell people I have sexually transmitted diseases.
Because I have had sex with one person, so please
I'm
stop telling
16.
people that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so she got the one letter returned,
Mm-hmm.
which was the boy from camp.
Yes.
She has the other letter that, like, may or may not have arrived to that other boy.
That she was like, he's, like, kind of like a number one crush.
He's, like, number 2 after Josh, right? Like, he was the one who Peter had his number somehow.
Yeah.
Peter, Lucas, and Josh. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Lucas.
So, like, I don't know. The thing about Josh for me is he's, like, a little too clingy.
Yeah.
Like, if your girlfriend breaks up with you, you don't get to be buddy-buddy with her family. Like, I'm sorry. You can be cordial.
Yeah, I think that's
you
weird.
can be nice, but you don't get to invite yourself over for Korean dinner.
Yeah.
You don't get to peer through their windows and invite yourself over. It's weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. Well, and also, like, I think it's unfair. Like, I think it's very clear that he, like, especially where he's like, oh, like, you don't need Peter Kavinsky to give you a ride to school. Like, I'll do that. It's like, I know what you're doing, Josh.
I don't know. I also just think,
like it.
I also just think that you, like, there's absolutely no possibility for them to have a relationship ever because Lara Jean is too good of a sister.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's just, like, it's never gonna happen. So, like, I think
breaks the bond of sister.
It does. And I think, like, Josh, I think, is interested in that and, like, clearly is going to, like, potentially try to pursue that. And I don't like it.
It's a bad move.
It's not nice to Margot, and it's honestly not nice to Lara Jean because she's always gonna feel like in the shadow of the old relationship. Yeah.
Well, and also I think
it's also not nice to Kitty, who also is in love with Josh.
I know, Kitty. I think that Josh, like, he's clearly hurting because Margot broke up with him, but I also think, like, Margot made such a healthy and good choice.
Margot made, like, a very healthy and good choice.
She's like, hey, I'm going to Scotland, so, like, I don't want to have a boyfriend there. Sorry.
Yeah. And I promise you this, she's going to have a way more fun college experience.
Oh, 100%. She made a great choice, I think.
Yeah, I think it's very good advice to end high school relationships. I mean, and I think the thing is, you don't even have to have, like, a hard end. Like, you can, like, I think the move is to basically be like, listen, like, I don't think it makes sense to try to, like, keep this going during the school year, but, like, you know, bets are off when winter break comes along. Like, maybe we'll hang. Like, I don't think you need to put, like, I'll never see you again on it.
It's over.
No, like, I don't think it needs to be like that, but I think it's healthy to basically say, listen, like, we don't know what's going to happen. we can still talk, like, we can still be friends, but, like, we should not be exclusively dating and limiting ourselves from, like, making friends and, like, having new experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what are your predictions for the novel?
So, like, I think she's gonna end up with Peter Kavinsky.
Okay.
I'm terrified about what's gonna happen between her and Genevieve. Is that her name? I think that's gonna be brutal. You know what? Like, who, like, I like wish was just not even in the book is Chris.
Yeah, she's in the book a lot more than she's in the movie, and I think, like, winnowing her out was a smart move.
Like, I just don't, like, I don't understand the friendship. Like, I don't understand. They never really spend time together, except for, like, when Chris is just calling her for no reason and to, like, ask for advice.
She's not a good friend.
She's not a good friend.
Well, and I do like the idea of Lara Jean being friends with her, because I like just the idea that she's like, oh, like, her and Margot don't like each other, but, like, I like Chris. And so it's, like, the one avenue of her life where she's a little bit, like, I don't have to do what my sister has advised me to do.
Right.
And it's not that Margot's advice is ever bad, but it's just, like, you know, she needs to get out there and mix it up a little bit. So.
Well, and I think, like,
Margot... So I'm, like, I think that's, like, a fun dynamic, but...
Margot also, like... I don't relate to Margot at all because she's, like, the least emotional sister.
Yeah.
Of the three, which, like, I would say I'm the most emotional sister of the three. So it sort of is, like, weird to me that, like, I'm terrible at drawing hard lines. And, like, I'm always the first to apologize. And, like, I hate being in fights. And, like, she just seems like she's, like, very, like, draws a line and that's it. I don't know. I just wish she was around more. Like, I know she has to be gone for the story, but I just wish Lara Jean had, like, a good female friend, because Chris is not cutting it.
Right. So it's like all of her female friendness is getting filtered into Peter Kavinsky, and I just don't think he can handle it.
No, he can't.
He's not equipped.
No. I think that Margot is going to find out about the whole Josh thing and is just going to be like, why did you not just tell me in the first place? Because I don't care.
I also am excited for you to see the movie. Excited for you to see Aiden from Sex and the City.
Yes!
As, like, a graying dad.
Ugh.
He actually, like...
That's all he ever was to me, anyway.
This movie was so charming to me that I was like, I accept you in this role. This is fine.
Well, that's fine. Like, that's the thing, is, like, Aiden to me was... He never jived with... Okay, now, back to this again. He never jived with Carrie's lifestyle because he was just a graying dad from day one. Like, what he wanted was to have, like, a house with, like, vintage furniture and a dog that sits on that vintage furniture and babies. And Carrie's like, listen, like, I prefer shoes. I'm partying. I really like my friends. Remember when Steve and Aiden opened a bar together?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was really
It is my favorite episode, though, just for Miranda.
What happens in that episode?
It's just, like, one moment where Miranda goes, he named the bar after his dog. I'm not going to that.
Oh, yeah.
And I just related to it so much. I was like, this is a phone conversation that Cher and I would have. And
100%.
I'm not going to that.
Yikes. I do actually enjoy this Steve and Aiden's dynamic. I think it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, anything that Steve's involved with, I'm on board with.
But I just never thought that Aiden was ever really going to work for Carrie. And it's not that I think Aiden's a bad person. I just think that, like, it was like a round peg, square hole kind of a thing.
I just frankly prefer that show when Carrie's not dating anyone. I think she's a better friend.
She's a bad friend when she dates people. You're right.
I think she's more interesting when she's alone.
Yeah. Well, and I think... yeah, she is the first person to throw her friends aside when a new boy hits the scene.
Yeah, which is problematic because she's individually every single one of the other three's best friend.
Which I don't get at all.
Yeah, I'm like, what's that dynamic?
And I think
it's like all four of you are close, but Carrie's your number one. All three of you.
Yeah. Well, I think that Miranda is Carrie's number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Did I ever talk about my my top 5 rankings of Sex and the City boyfriends on this? I don't know that I did. I
don't think so.
I don't think I did. What a great time to do that. Okay. Shit. Now I'm like, do I remember? Yes, of course I do. Okay. My number 1 is Harry, Charlotte's husband.
Yes.
Who is my ultimate type, Jewish. Number 2 is Steve. Which, like, frankly, like, that was a toss-up. But, like, for Steve, like, he made a few bad moves.
Yeah.
That, like, and especially, like, I don't know. I don't take the movies canon, so, like, I don't believe he cheated on Miranda at all. So, screw that.
My only criticism of Harry is that, like, I like that he goes for what he wants, but, like, if we didn't love him already, like, his way of pursuing Charlotte would 100% be, like, creepy and bad.
How does he pursue her?
Because it's, like, after their divorce is finalized, or after her divorce
he is her divorce
he's
attorney.
Like,
right?
Yeah, and then he's like, I've got to have you. And she's like, what? And then they, like, fall into bed together.
After her divorce finalizes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I like that she, like, converts to Judaism for him. And then
Yeah, I love everything after that.
Then they break up, and, like, she still is like, well, like, I committed to this, so, like, I'm going to Jewish single mixers now. Yeah. And they meet at that again, and he proposes. Yeah, I don't know. Harry, I think what I like about Harry, and, like, maybe it's a little bit because he a little bit reminds me of Brendan in some ways, where, like, I think I'm more of a Miranda than a Charlotte, but, like, I definitely have some of, like, Charlotte's, like, anxiety and, like, anal retentive qualities and, like, passive aggressive sometimes. So, like, like, when he's, like, walking around the house naked and, like, leaving his tea bags everywhere, and she's like, oh my god, like, you're driving me insane, and he's just like, oh, sorry, like, whatever, like,
I was trying hard.
Yeah, like, he's like, I was just trying really hard. That, like, kind of reminds me of Brendan, where, like, he just doesn't even, like, take, like, he just lets all the vitriol I throw at him, like, roll off, and he's like, you know, whatever, like, I don't care what you say.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, all right. And it's like, what can I do with that? Nothing. Like, now I just, like, I can't. You're
like, all right,
well, that's over then. And then number 3 is Smith.
Yes.
Because, like, I just love how, like, Smith just wears his heart on his sleeve, where Samantha has just been so hurt over time. She's so, like, raw and vulnerable when she gets cancer, and he shaves his head for her. It's just so nice. And I think, like, I like how... That is good. I like how Samantha thinks, because he's, like, young and hot, that, like, these are the things that he wants. Like, oh, like, you want to be, like, having sex with extras, and, like, that's fine with me. And he's like, no, like, I just literally, all I want is to be your boyfriend, and for you to, like, put a label on it and, like, be here. It's just so nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is sweet, like, how he kind of turns the tables on her.
Yeah.
And who's 5?
4 is Mr. Big.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. I forgot.
Which, like, I know is a controversial choice.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing is, I think where Mr. Big, like, really redeems himself, which, like, I'll be honest, like, through the whole series, like, I have a soft spot for him, and I like him, I like his style, like, whatever.
Yeah,
he's corny and whatever, but, like, I like it. But I think in the last season when he meets up with all of them, like, I think Miranda calls him and is like, listen, like, she's dating this Russian guy, like, he's bad news, like, I don't like him, like, you need to stop him. Like, he meets them and he's like, listen, like, I know I haven't been everybody's favorite, like, throughout these years, but, like, you know, you guys are the love of her life, and, like, I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, finally. But I think the fact that he acknowledges that and he says that, like, that's what makes him the best guy for Carrie, because, like, he knows he's never going to be number one and, like, acknowledges and is okay with that. And I think that's, like, very nice.
Yeah. Is 5 Aiden?
No, Aiden does not make my list.
I was going to say, bleh.
No, 5 is David Duchovny.
Yes!
In his one episode appearance when he's in the mental hospital and Carrie visits him. Yeah.
Perfect.
But, like, if I have to pick, like, a more recurring character, then I would pick Skipper.
Mm-hmm. See, I, like, couldn't care less about Skipper. Forget about Skipper. Like...
Well, but, like, who would you pick as number 5 then?
I have no idea.
Do you agree with my order, or would you switch it up?
I agree with your order.
Okay.
I, like, might throw Burger on there.
No! Burger is the worst!
Only because, like, I am opposed strongly to, like, what he does. And,
he's the definition of, like, masculine ego and, like, can't let a woman be better than him.
Agreed. But before that, I think that they have a fun dynamic. Which is why I feel, like, conflicted. Like, I think they're fun, and it's similar to how I feel sometimes about Christopher and Lorelai, where I'm like, oh, I like their banter.
Well, I like that, but...
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, he really goes downhill fast, but, like, I do enjoy the beginning of their courtship.
Oh, no, you know who I like, is the guy Miranda dates, the black doctor.
The black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doctor who lives upstairs, who, is just very hot, very smart, like, such a match for her.
Devoted to the baby.
Just nice. Like,
I mean, it really makes it hard. It really makes it hard to, like, root against him.
It does, but I think, like, you know, Steve is Steve.
Steve.
Yeah. But I think also, like, they managed to taint him in the end because, like, Steve walks in on him, like, having a threesome with those girls, and it's like, all right, like, yuck.
Which, like, he's, like, clearly doing that to be, like, performative.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah.
Which, so, like, I did not love that. But... So I think, like, if that had not happened, he, like, might have been higher on my list. Like, he might have ousted Big. But...
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. That, like, kind of bums me out. I forgot his name, but he's only in it for, like, a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like the Russian guy, played by
I don't mind
Baryshnikov. No! Why? He's so bad to her in Paris.
I know. He treats her like crap in Paris. But I also think I'm like, well, he's an artist, so, I mean, like, that doesn't mean, like, she should be with him. But, like, I don't think that makes him, like, a bad guy. Like, I think, like, there's a difference between being a bad person and being wrong for Carrie.
No, I think that's true. I just think that, like, why do you make somebody uproot their life and quit their job when you know you aren't going to have time for them?
Yeah. I think that's a jackass move.
Yeah, I don't know. I also just thought, like, it was, like, a romantic ideal. Like, I think she liked the idea of him, but, like, their time together was, like, not that fun.
No.
Also, remember when he was really mean to her friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I hate that episode.
I don't know how you could like him, even a little.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about him I find a little bit charming.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Like that one time he buys her that dress that she liked in a magazine. Like, okay, fine, that's fun. And then there's that other guy, Samantha's like long-term boyfriend, who also plays
Richard,
Dexter's dad.
Trash.
Yeah, he is absolute trash. But like, a lot of people vote him high, which like I can't understand that.
Don't find him appealing at all.
Well, he's very old. It's just, like, literally, I think the thing that's appealing about him is that he's rich. Like, I think, like, that's, like, all people could say.
Yeah.
Which is, like, honestly a little bit the same for Big.
Yeah.
Like, he's got style, you know?
Yeah, but he does have style, whereas Richard's, like, slimy.
Yeah, I know he's really slimy.
I feel like for a show that, like, I don't know that you or I would rank Sex and the City as, like, among our favorite shows, but I feel like we talk about it a lot on this podcast.
No, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite shows. I like it. Like, I think it has somehow, like, had a lot more meaning for me at this time in my life than it ever did before, so maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I also think we talk about female friendship a lot, so...
Yeah, it comes up.
I also think that,
it's like a good touchstone.
And I think it's, like, 4 archetypes of, like, women, too, where it's, like, I think that, I don't know. Like, I think if I was growing up watching Sex and the City in high school, I don't think I would have been like, I just hope I'm a Miranda when I grow up. And now I'm like, God, all I want to be in this is a Miranda.
Oh, I hated her.
I didn't hate her. Miranda. I thought she was funny, but, like, I definitely didn't identify with her.
I was like, she's not the prettiest, and she's also kind of mean. And now I'm like, no, she's got the right idea.
She does. She also, like, I don't know. She rocks that, like, short haircut in the final season.
Yeah.
The first season, like, it's a bad haircut, but...
Yeah.
Later on.
It gets better.
It does. It gets better. Things get better for her.
Well, and I also think, like, in a lesser book, I think that Laura Jean would be, like, a Charlotte. Whereas, like, they don't really... Like, Laura Jean is, like, more complicated than Charlotte gets to be.
I don't know. Laura Jean might be a Miranda, though. Like, Laura Jean's kind of sassy.
Yeah, that's true.
But she also is, like, a little unsure.
She's, like, Miranda before she gets jaded.
Yeah, because she's an optimist, which, like, Miranda is not.
No, Miranda's like, things are going to work out horribly.
Yeah. She's a realist. Mm-hmm. Or a pessimist. I don't know. One of the two.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm very excited for us to finish this book.
I'm excited too.
And talk about it in its entirety. I'm excited to see how, like, the ending is slightly different from the movie, and I'm excited for you to see the movie.
Okay. Should we do them in one? Like, well, we can talk about the logistics later, but...
Yeah.
I did want to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Whitby.
Oh, yeah.
Who wrote us a message with a recommendation, which we are taking under advisement. So thank you very much for reaching out. If people ever want to reach out with recommendations, we are more than happy to see them and think about them and incorporate them. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening. As always, rate, review, subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.